All right, today we're diving into a couple of verses from the ancient Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And you know what? They offer a really surprising, kind of ancient answer to all the quarrels and conflicts we see in our world today.
I mean, you ever feel like you're just living in an age of quarrel? It seems like everywhere you look, right, on social media, in politics, there's just constant disagreement and friction. Well, it's fascinating because the text we're looking at says, hey, this isn't some new thing. It's actually a defining feature of the time we're living in. So the source actually has a name for this period. It's called the Age of Kali. And it's not just a block of time on a calendar. It's described more like a state of being, an atmosphere where conflict is just the default setting. And it's all fueled by what the text calls vicious habits.
And check this out. The commentary really paints a picture. It says this age is so saturated with these habits that a great fight can break out from just the slightest misunderstanding. Wow. I mean, doesn't that just capture that feeling of walking on eggshells we all know so well?
Okay, so what's the fix? We're always trying things, right? Peace conferences, new plans, big policies. But what's interesting is that this text's commentary is, well, it's pretty critical of those kinds of efforts. It basically suggests they're missing the real root of the problem.
And this is where the text's perspective gets super clear. It argues that all these annual plans from our leaders, they get frustrated by forces they can't even control. And these secular ideals, well, they often deny there's a higher power at play at all. So the text sees both of these approaches as just treating symptoms, not the actual disease. And then it lays out its own path, which is totally different. It's about hearing and glorifying the Lord.
So that really brings us to the core of it, doesn't it? If all our usual plans and methods are, like the text says, fundamentally flawed, then what's the alternative? What is this path to get us out of this constant age of quarrel?
Well, the answer, laid out in the second verse we're looking at, is actually surprisingly simple. It's not about big external changes like new laws or policies. Nope, it's all about a personal internal shift. The key, it says, is just a willingness to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord. That's it. That's the agent of purification for our time.
Okay, but that leads to another question, right? If hearing is the method, then who's doing the talking? How does this purifying message actually get to us? This is where that first verse comes back into play. It gives us a really crucial piece of the puzzle by pointing to a very special kind of person who is the key to the whole thing.
And this person is called a pure devotee. Now, the definition here is super specific. We're not just talking about a nice or a good person. This is about a great sage who has, in the words of the text, completely taken shelter of the Supreme. And to really explain just how powerful these individuals are, the text uses this incredible analogy. It's something that would have clicked instantly with its original audience, but honestly, it's still pretty striking today. It compares their ability to purify us to one of the most sacred things imaginable in that culture.
So get this, the text puts two things side by side. On one hand, you have the sacred Ganges River. It's said that it can sanctify you, but only after prolonged use. But then you have the pure devotee, and their power? It's described as immediate. It can sanctify you at once, just by being in their presence, just through association.
Yeah, that is not a subtle difference at all. The commentary literally makes the claim that pure devotees of the Lord are more powerful than the waters of the sacred river Ganges. It's saying their influence, their ability to purify is actually stronger and more immediate.
Okay, so this brings up a really practical question. The text says to take shelter of the Lord by, taking shelter of these devotees. But what does that actually mean? What does that look like in practice?
Well, the commentary breaks it down pretty simply. Step 1, you approach a pure devotee. Step 2, you accept them as your spiritual guide. And step 3, through that genuine connection, the text says you can be purified at once.
So what are we looking for? What makes someone a pure devotee? The text gives us a few key qualities. Their whole life, their whole business is just to serve. And they're not just doing any service, they're engaged in the most confidential service, helping to deliver others from this material world. It's because of this incredible role that they're honored as being direct representatives of the Lord.
And here's the thing. The text really emphasizes that this isn't about, decades of study or some super complex rituals. No, it's all about the power of a single, sincere connection. Just one. One genuine association, one moment of truly taking shelter, and that's the catalyst for immediate change.
And that's how we come full circle. The text's solution to this huge external problem of the age of quarrel is something deeply personal. It's internal. It's all about associating with a purified soul and simply hearing from them. It's presented as a direct antidote, one that works on you, the individual, to counteract all the noise and conflict of the age.
So we're left with this really provocative idea, right? If this ancient text has a point, if true peace isn't something that can be legislated by governments, but is actually transmitted from person to person, well, that kind of challenges us to rethink everything. It makes you wonder, where are we looking for peace today? Are we all just searching for it in policies and plans, when maybe, just maybe, the real power for change is in the people we choose to listen to?